Yo, what is going on everyone? Guiding Light here, and in this video, I'm going to show you guys the easiest way that you guys can go flawless. Now, this is going to start out by being a setup video. I'm going to show you guys pretty much the best and easiest setups to run so that you guys can get started. So before we even get into the gameplay, let's just talk about the setup that you're going to want to run. Now, to get started, guys, I really suggest trying to run an auto rifle. Hand cannons and things like that, pulse rifles, they're kind of out when it comes to the 3v3. And the best thing that you can run right now is definitely going to be an auto rifle, especially for this week because the map is Cauldron. So find your favorite auto rifle that has a decent amount of range and some good stability, and go ahead and put that on your secondary slot. Now for your primary, you're going to want to go ahead and run a shotgun. Now the best shotgun that you can definitely run is going to be the Chaperone. Now if you guys aren't good with Chaperone, you're not comfortable with slugs, there's plenty of other shotguns that you guys can use. Just make sure that it is a one-hit kill within like a few meters or so. So I'm going to go through a few of these different shotguns, guys. There's actually a ton of them that you can use in the primary slot. So there's Wristwalker. I know it's a little bit of an older one, but if you guys don't have that, there's a ton of other primary shotguns that you guys can use. Now this one honestly is one of my favorites. I think it's like the easiest one to use, and it's very, very consistent at getting one-hit kills at a pretty decent range. So once you guys have found a shotgun to use, now if you guys don't want to use a shotgun, that's actually okay. But if you're not going to use a shotgun, you're definitely going to want to use an SMG or a sidearm. The only reason why is because this primary weapon is only going to be for if somebody comes up close. You're going to be using your auto rifle for every other gunfight, no matter what, unless somebody pretty much rushes up on you or you need to rush somebody else because they're like hiding somewhere or sitting on the zone. So that's the only time you're even going to be pulling out your secondary. So you don't really need to worry too much about it. Now from there, what you guys are going to want to do is go into your mods. Make sure you have a targeting mod on for your auto rifle. Make sure you have the reload mod on, and make sure you have the unflinching mods on for all of the corresponding pieces. Like make sure you have all of those mods on and make sure it matches the element that's on your auto rifle. Now, once it comes down to your Titan mark, you're going to want to make sure that you put on Reaper. This is going to help you guys get your super faster. And then make sure you're either running Bomber or that you're running Outreach, or you can run one of each if you want. But make sure you guys have that on. Now, the final thing you guys want to make sure that you do before even playing trials is make sure that you guys have some decent armor stats. Now, I'm not going to get too in depth with this. Most people kind of already know about this, but if you're like brand new to the game, look up a few guides on how to get a good stat build so that you guys are ready, because you guys want to make sure that you have the proper intellect, mobility, and resilience, especially with the new meta and things like that. On top of that, make sure you have a few classes made and saved here in case you need to switch on the fly, and make sure that you're running a good super that you can actually get. A lot of the supers now, they take too long to even get, so I always make sure to run ones that I can make sure I can get if the games go out long enough. Now from there, guys, you guys can go ahead and launch into Trials of Osiris. Now the map right now is Cauldron, and with the new meta, guys, you really want to make sure that you are trying to at least team shot as much as you can. Now, a lot of people are running auto rifles now, which means that you can die very quickly. But if you can get ahead of this and actually be ready for it, then there's actually a good chance that you can come out ahead. So what you want to do, if you're not going to be a super aggressive player, is just go ahead and try to team shot with your teammates. Now, a lot of the time, after playing a lot of matches, I've played like thousands and thousands of trials matches, and in my opinion, I think the first round is the most important. If you guys can win the first round, not only is it going to give you a good base lead to get you guys ahead, but a lot of the times, as soon as you win that first round, it actually will allow you to get a lot of momentum going, and that way you can win the second and third rounds as well. Now, I find also if you win the rounds quick enough, a lot of teams will sort of like leave or sort of give up as well. Now, this isn't going to work every single time, but it definitely happens quite a bit with me when I play really aggressively. Now, if you guys are a little less experienced, you don't know the spawns and the routes and things like that, you might want to take things a little bit slower, and that's perfectly fine. Now, I see a lot of people making some very common mistakes when playing trials, especially with the new checkmate and with the new zone capture. So every time the zone comes in, guys, unless it's heavy round, you guys want to go directly to the zone. Sometimes I'll be playing, because I play a lot solo, and I'll be on the zone, and a lot of times my other teammates will be on the complete opposite side of the map, not even really near like what's really going on. You have to keep in mind, guys, this is not elimination anymore. This is actually capture trials. So you really want to make sure you're playing the objective at all times. If you're on the opposite side of the map and your teammates are trying to get on the zone, or you're trying to fight over the zone, and you're not there helping them, or at least holding down some of the angles so that the other teammates can't like go around behind yours, then you're really kind of doing absolutely nothing, and you really want to make sure that you're near the zones. Now, the gameplay you're watching right now is a little different because it's literally a 2v3, like they backed out, so I just wanted to get it over as fast as possible. But make sure that when the round starts, guys, you go to the zone and you actually defend the zone. Don't worry about the other areas of the map unless it's the heavy round. Now, another thing to keep in mind, guys, is if you do end up being down a few rounds, don't just give up or back out or something like that, because a lot of times you can come back very easily. Now, another thing that you want to do is make sure that you're not just automatically running out into very open areas. So you can see as soon as the round started, I went right to the zone, and the other team, they went right to the zone too, because it looks like there were some pretty experienced players. Now, at this point, guys, I see a lot of, like, you can see my teammate right there right now, just running out into the middle of the map, just not really doing much because obviously, man, like, even if he got the one kill, like, he's guaranteed to die in that situation. He's surrounded. So try to have some, like, try to think your plays out a little bit, guys. Don't just run out. I know it's not easy every time to actually plan out your fight, and it's not going to work every time, but at least try to have some thought. Like, don't just run out into the open. Try to use the cover and things like that. Put down a barricade first. Don't even run out into the open until you're full health. And as soon as you get shot once or twice, it's not a bad thing to turn around and try to run back behind cover. Like, I see a lot of people in fights sometimes, they'll get shot once or twice, and instead of backing off, they'll just keep fighting the guy. And it's like, man, just take 2 or 3 steps over, go behind the wall, and just try to reset. Make sure you have full health. These are just a few mistakes that I see players making very, very common. So this round here, we ended up losing it, but I think it's actually good to help and show you guys. So as you can see, I'm trying to hold down fire here over the zone because I'm like, both teams were playing really well. We actually went straight to the zone. And from this point, I'm kind of locked down. And the only reason I'm locked down is because my other teammates, they're kind of still hanging back. They're not really pushing up or helping me. It would have been really helpful if one of these guys on the left actually pushed up to that door to at least distract the guy. Like, a lot of the times you don't even need to actually deal a lot of damage or like make sure that you kill the guy. Sometimes it's enough just to be on the radar so that the other teammates can actually get distracted and you guys can all be in like an even fight. As you can see there, most of the time it was a 2v1 or 3v1 during that round. So I really wasn't able to do much to help out my teammates. So in the next round, guys, I'll show you guys how I was able to come back a little bit. So I was down 2-0 and I realized, okay, what I'm doing isn't working. Maybe it's time to actually change my strategy up a little bit. So I went into the center of the map, tried to play a little bit more range with my auto rifle because I know I have a better aim than them in the long run. I just need to actually be patient and wait until I can get in one of these one-on-one gunfights. So a lot of times I notice, especially if the enemy team is already in the lead, they'll be way more okay with pushing you or doing some risky plays or just being really, really impatient because they think they already have the lead. And a lot of this game is kind of just getting in the enemy team's head because as soon as you notice that they're going to be super aggressive or that they're getting impatient, all you have to do is kind of just hang back and let them push you. And a lot of times you can get a few free kills on them. And before you know it, you'll be up a couple rounds. So now, as you guys can see, it's going to go into heavy round. Now, it's very important that every time heavy spawns, it doesn't matter where the zone spawns, you always want to go for heavy. As soon as heavy round starts, guys, that's basically the new capture point. So you don't even want to worry about the capture point. You want to go straight for heavy. Now, I suggest running a grenade launcher or a rocket launcher if you're going to be going for heavy. Those are the easiest and most guaranteed ways to get a kill. Now, the only reason that I don't run a grenade launcher or a rocket launcher is because I don't like the fact that I can accidentally kill myself, and it's just happened to me too many times in the past, and I've lost games for it. So that's why I chose to just basically never run an explosive again. But in a situation like this, I really wish I had one because when that guy got that res, I was unable to hit my shots because I was just getting staggered too much, all the threadlings, things like that. If I had a rocket launcher, it would have been an easy, free double kill, and this stress probably would have never happened. We would have definitely never lost this round, but it was another round we lost. And you guys can learn from my mistakes. Now, that's just something that I decided to never do, is run a grenade launcher or a rocket launcher. But I highly, highly suggest that you guys have one on, especially for situations like this, because that would have guaranteed us that round. So I'm trying to show you guys one of my more difficult matches where the other team was actually pretty decent. And my teammates weren't really that bad. Like, we 100% could have won this match with no problem at all. It's just that they made some really wrong decisions. And that's why I'm trying to show you guys the mistakes that were made, so that you can learn from it and actually become better. So as you can see here, they're up a couple rounds. So like I said, they're going to be aggressive because they think that the game's pretty much halfway over already. So they don't have any reason to play passive. So the only thing that I wish my teammates would have done differently here is actually split up a little bit. So especially on a map like this, you guys don't all want to be on top of each other. You guys never, all three players never want to be in the exact same spot on the map. That is one of the worst situations that you guys can ever put yourself in. And you never ever want to be all in the exact same spot. So if you find yourself like stacked on top of your teammates, now it's okay to have like one guy near you, but you never want to have all three. And the reason for that is because you want to always have somebody on a side angle or trying to get behind them to so that you guys can actually make a move. Now, if all three of you guys are always just standing in the same doorway, you're just going to end up trading shots off, trading grenades off until somebody eventually gets lucky enough to get a kill. But if you guys actually have somebody that's on one of the side angles, it will distract the enemy team and allow you guys to actually push in and start and like make an actual play. So that's why you always want to make sure that you guys are kind of split up a little bit and not just all standing on the exact same angle. That is something that will guarantee you to lose a match. So the only thing from here that I can say is to make sure that you utilize your cover. Now the new time to kill guys is like really quick, as you guys can tell. You can die very fast, especially if somebody on the other team is shooting at you. So you really want to be utilizing your cover, going in and out of cover. As soon as you guys know that you like the next bullet's going to kill you or the next two shots might kill you, just disengage the gunfight. Is there's no reason to continue on. Just get behind cover until you're full health again, or until a teammate actually comes in and helps. So those all these tips put together will definitely help you guys to win more matches. Now, unfortunately, guys, I actually ended up losing this match, and it really did upset me. But I think you guys can learn quite a bit from it. I ended up going like 16-7, so it wasn't necessarily my direct fault that made us lose this match, but we did end up losing it for whatever reason. So that happens sometimes, especially when you play solo. You know, we weren't on the mics with each other, so it was really hard to communicate like when to team shot and things like that. But you know, if that guy was with me there, just to put one or two shots in the guy with me, it 100% would have worked out better. But you know, when you're playing solo and things like that, you cannot be relying on team shots. So you have to keep that in mind before you even get in the match, guys. Now, playing solo is not the same as playing duos or trios, and you cannot be expecting your teammates to do anything at all. Like when you get in a match, you need to be accountable for like everything that happens to you, and you can't always blame your teammates because they're not on the mics with you, and there's a good chance that they can't see what you see either. So don't always blame your teammates. Now there's always times, like I said, that they're not being helpful, but the only thing that you can do is just do the best you can. So you're going to want to always make sure you're going to the zone. Just don't want to be one of those bad teammates, you know? And if you know that you're not good with heavy ammo or something like that, then just simply don't pick up heavy. Just have some common sense and just try not to be a bad teammate, because there's way too much of that I see going on, but it's just because people, I think, haven't learned to play enough. So as you can see, that guy could have very easily came inside with us, gone straight to the zone, but for whatever reason, he decided to stick it outside. He probably got distracted by the radar and things like that. I can't really blame him, but you always want to make sure that you're going straight to the zone so you guys can actually defend it. Now, another thing, guys, is to make sure you pop your supers when you have them. Now, this guy decided to never pop his super for whatever reason, and he had it before the enemy had his. So it's very important, guys, that if you have your supers, you need to know when to actually pop them, because if you don't pop them, or if you choose not to pop them at the right time, you will 100% lose matches for it, especially in this new meta. So hopefully all these tips and tricks help you guys out. Now, I ended up going flawless. That was only my mercy. It wasn't really a big deal, but I think it was a really good match for you guys to watch and learn quite a bit from. So hopefully it helps you guys out, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace.